Now these are spirits of demons which produce signs. They will go forth to the kings of the entire earth to gather them together for the war of the great day of God the Almighty. Revelation 16:14. Why are the nations forming into a mob, and the peoples of the earth grumbling idly? The kings of the earth are assembling, and its princes are gathering together, against the Lord and his anointed one, saying, Let us pull off their chains and cast their cords from us. Psalm 2:1-3. The beast's response to the Jewish rebellion will be characteristically swift, and yet overwhelming in spite of its speed, coming like a flood, raging over the land of Israel. Isaiah 8:6-8. Feverishly mustering the united armed forces of evil from all the remaining quarters of the earth, Antichrist will cause to descend upon the true center of the world an innumerable polyglot horde with Jerusalem as its objective. But the Lord will help her at break of day, Psalm 46:5, and indeed it has been his plan all along to bring Antichrist and all his forces together and cause them to founder on Zion's rock. Proclaim this among the nations. Prepare a holy war. Rouse all the mighty men. Let all the men of war come near and come up to Jerusalem. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let even the feeble man say, I too am a mighty man, that is fit for service. Hurry and come from every direction that you may be assembled there. And thou, O Lord, do thou likewise bring down thy own warriors there to Jerusalem. Let the nations be roused from their places, and let them come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there I will sit in judgment over all the nations on every side. Send forth the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come down into the winepress, for it is full, and the vats overflow. For great is their wickedness. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of doom. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of doom. The sun and moon will darken, and the stars will gather up their light. Then the Lord will roar from Zion, and from Jerusalem he will let sound his voice, and the heavens and the earth will quake. Joel 3:9-16. As we saw in our treatment of Revelation 16:12-16, that is the sixth bowl judgment, with its call to Armageddon, this will be a universal proclamation to all the nations on the face of the earth, bringing every able-bodied man to do battle at Jerusalem. Overlooked universally in the translations of this passage is that the Hebrew verb in the second command of Joel 3:9 means consecrate, rather than simply prepare, from the root qdsh. This will indeed be a holy war, the final crusade of Satan and his Antichrist against the coming true Messiah at his own truly holy and righteous return. The massive nature of the mobilization can be seen from the description in verse 10, where even the implements of peace are rapidly forged into weapons of war for this final assault on the people of God, a command famously and stunningly reversed in the millennial prophecies of Isaiah 2:4 and Micah 4:3, in a way which serves to demonstrate quite clearly the difference between the pseudo-Messiah and the genuine one about to come. From the passage quoted, we also see that even those who would otherwise be disinclined to enter military service will be zealously enthusiastic to join in this final battle of total war between the forces of the devil, seen and unseen, against the camp of God in Jerusalem. This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, said to me, Take from my hand this cup filled with the wine of my wrath, and make all the nations to whom I send you drink it. When they drink it, they will stagger and go mad because of the sword I will send among them. So I took the cup from the Lord's hand, and made all the nations to whom he sent me drink it, Jerusalem and the towns of Judah, its kings and officials, to make them a ruin and an object of horror and scorn and cursing, as they are today. Pharaoh king of Egypt, his attendants, his officials, and all his people, and all the foreign people there, all the kings of Uz, all the kings of the Philistines, those of Ashkelon, Gaza, Ekron, and the people left at Ashdod, Edom, Moab, and Ammon, all the kings of Tyre and Sidon, the kings of the coastlands across the sea, Dedan, Tema, Buz, and all who are in distant places, all the kings of Arabia, and all the kings of the foreign people who live in the desert, all the kings of Zimri, Elam, and Media, and all the kings of the north, near and far, one after the other, all the kingdoms on the face of the earth. And after all of them, the king of Sheshach, that is a cryptogram for Babylon, will drink it too. Then tell them, this is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says. Drink, get drunk and vomit, and fall to rise no more because of the sword I will send among you. But if they refuse to take the cup from your hand and drink, tell them, this is what the Lord Almighty says, you must drink it. See, I am beginning to bring disaster on the city that bears my name, and will you indeed go unpunished? You will not go unpunished, for I am calling down a sword upon all who live on the earth, declares the Lord Almighty. Jeremiah 25:15 through 29. While the passage from Jeremiah has its primary application in the lead-up to the Babylonian captivity, the highlighted passages show clearly enough that it was meant to have an eschatological application as well, bringing home to Jeremiah's contemporaries the horror of what was about to happen by comparing it to Armageddon, that is, the Day of the Lord paradigm. On the other hand, Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39 are entirely eschatological. Since these two chapters give us the most detailed look at the beast's mustering of the world's armed forces and his subsequent invasion of Israel preceding Armageddon, it is necessary at this point that we make a thorough examination of Ezekiel's description of Gog of Magog. Gog of Magog. And you, son of man, prophesy against Gog and say, Thus says the Lord God, Behold, I am against you, Gog, that is Antichrist, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will fetch you back and conduct you, and bring you up from the far reaches of the north. For I will make you come to the mountains of Israel. Then I will strike your bow from your left hand, and make your arrows fall from your right hand. Ezekiel 39:1 through 3. In our previous discussions of Ezekiel's description of Gog of Magog, we saw that Gog is synonymous with the beast, while Magog means the place of Gog. That is to say, in our prophetic context, Magog is Mystery Babylon. MGG, via the use of the Hebrew cryptographic technique of Athbash, stands for LBB equals BBL equals Babel. It is true that the consonants are reversed in the cryptogram. That is, a direct correspondence would require Babylon's cryptographic name to be Gogum. But Magog is a historical name. He is one of the sons of Japheth, Genesis 10:2, so that the reversal is used no doubt to preserve the identification with Mystery Babylon without altering the historical name, and so losing that part of the analogy. For it is precisely by using the historical name Magog that the power center of this future invader of Israel is plainly located for the reader in the far north, the historical locale of Japheth's second son. Now, while eschatological Babylon is strictly speaking in the west, historical Babylon is in the north, in terms of biblical geography, and until her destruction at the end of the Tribulation, is indistinguishable from the revived Roman Empire as part of Antichrist's dual base of power. Thus, for Ezekiel's listeners, the association of Gog, the future invader of the land, with Magog, one of if not the most remote of the northern nations, not only conveys in contemporary terms a perfect picture of what will actually happen, but also allows us, with the benefit of later prophetic details, to take things a step further and identify Magog with prophetic Babylon for the reasons already delineated. Further, if we see in the root of the names Gog-Magog a doubling of the Hebrew word for Gentile, Goy, then Magog will mean something like archetypical Gentile nation. And with eschatological Babylon being, in ethnic terms, on the one hand more representative of more Japhetic nations than any other single nation, and on the other hand more polyglot in general than any other nation, the use of Magog to represent Mystery Babylon as the homeland of the beast, he is chief prince of Magog, and the linchpin of the dual confederation presided over by Magog, composed of the two parts, Meshech and Tubal, makes perfect sense. There are, moreover, many indications throughout the context that show of a certainty that Ezekiel is speaking exclusively of far future events in chapters 38 and 39, and specifically of the events of Armageddon.